My dear students, welcome to Class 9 Economics Chapter 1 Story of Village Palampur. I am Sudesh KG, PGT Economics, JNV Bishnupur, Manipur. From this story of village Palampur, we study very important economic activity, that is production. First we see the overview of this chapter. The purpose of study is to introduce basic concepts related to production, and this we do through a story of hypothetical village Palampur. It's a hypothetical village. It's an imaginary village. Through this village, what we study? We study about the basic activities of production. Farming is the main activity in Palampur, whereas several other activities such as small-scale manufacturing, dairy, transport, etc. are carried out on a limited scale. That is the main activity, farming. These production activities need various types of resources: natural resources, man-made resources, human effort, money, etc. Through the story of Palampur, we will learn how various resources combine to produce the desired goals and services in the village. This is the overview of this particular chapter. Let's see objectives. From this chapter, we have to acquire some objectives. First one, familiarize themselves with basic concepts like factors of production, yield, surplus, etc. We have to familiarize. What are the factors of production? Some terms like yield, surplus, etc. Classify main occupation in a village into farming and non-farming activities. Understand the importance of factors of production. We have to understand the importance of the factors of production. Understand the disparity in distribution of agricultural land, whether the land is equally distributed among the farmers or if there exists an unequal distribution of land. We are going to understand. Now we are going to the introduction. Let's see introduction. Palampur is well connected with neighboring villages and towns. Raiganj, a big village in 3 kilometers from Palampur. An all-weather road connects the village to Raiganj and further to the nearest small town, Shapur. You heard Raiganj, the big village is situated near Palampur and a small town, that is Shapur. What is importance? Well connected with roads. And also transport facilities, bullock cart, tongas, bogies, and also motorcycles, trucks, jeeps, etc. are also there. This village has about 450 families belonging to different castes. The 80 upper caste families own the majority of the land in this village. Their houses, some of them quite large, are made up of brick and cement plastering. The SCs, scheduled castes, they are also called Dalits, comprise 1/3 of the population. and live in one corner of the village and in much smaller houses which are made up of mud and straw. Most of the houses have electric connections. Electricity powers all the tube wells in the fields and is used in various types of small businesses. Palampur has two primary schools and one high school. There's a primary health center run by the government and one private dispensary where the sick are treated. From this introduction, what all things you can understand? It's a well-developed village. All-weather roads are there. Transportation facilities are there. They are transporting the goods produced in the Palampur. Gar. They transport gar from to the nearest town. What is the nearest town? Shapur. And also different types of people. 80 upper class people. 1/3 of the population are Dalits. Their condition is very pathetic. What about the schools? Two primary schools and one high school. Two dispensaries. One is government, other one is private. It's a kind of well-developed village. Here also we have already discussed farming is the major activity. They are earning income through farming. Therefore, we are going to study about the farming in Palampur. But before going to study about the farming in Palampur, we have to understand the organization of production, the factors which are helping the production. Now we are going to organization of production. Organization of production. Okay, production I have already told you. It's a very important economic activity. You think about it, if there is no production of goods and services, what we do? If you want to live, we need a lot of things that should be produced. Therefore, organization of production, you have to understand how all the things are produced, what all things are needed. Okay. The aim of production, what's the aim of production? Is to produce goods and services that we want. Okay, that's why it's very important. The aim is to produce goods and services that we want. There are 4 requirements of production of goods and services. 4 requirements are needed. Okay. The first, which one? The first requirement is land and other natural resources such as water, forest, minerals. Land is very important thing. If you think about a kind of vegetable farm of your own, what do you want? A land is needed. Water is needed. The land is very important thing. The first requirement, that is land. And we know that it's a natural resources. Okay. Then the second requirement is labor. That is people who will do the work. Okay, people who will do the work. Okay, when someone is needed to do the work, you started to do a vegetable farm in your own, what you need? First you got a land. Then you have to make it into a farm. Who will do that? A labor. You can yourself be a labor. And you can also hire someone else from outside. Labor is needed. Then in labors, there are differences. Some production activities require highly educated workers to perform the necessary tasks. Some jobs needs which one? Educated personalities are needed. Other activities require which one? Some physical capacity is needed. Require workers who can do manual work. If you are physically well, you can do the vegetable farm your own, no problem. You can do all the things, cleaning and making of that particular land into a farm. You should have physical capacity. That each worker is providing the labor necessary for production. Each labor, what they provide, each labor provides the necessary things for the production. It's very important. The first requirement is land, second requirement is labor. Third requirement of production is physical capital. That is a variety of inputs required at every stage during the production. What are the terms that come under physical capital? First one, tools, machines, buildings. Tools and machines range from very simple tools such as farmer's plow to sophisticated machines such as generators, turbines, computers, etc. Tools, machines, buildings can be used in production over many years and are called fixed capital. Then can you define fixed capital? Those inputs which are used in production over many years or for a long period of time, we can call it fixed capital. Then next one, raw materials and money in hand. Production requires a variety of raw materials such as yarn used by the weaver and the clay used by the potter. Also, some money is always required during production to make payments and buy other necessary items. Raw materials and money in hand are called working capital. Why it is called working capital? Unlike tools, machines and buildings, these are used up in production. It will be finished off. If you use your cash in hand to buy something, your cash is over. What about the raw material you use? It will be in some other form. That it is used up in production. We can define those inputs which are used in production are used up is called working capital. Then we are going to the fourth requirement of production. The fourth requirement, what is that? You will need knowledge and enterprise to be able to put together land, labor and physical capital and produce an output either to use yourself or to sell it in the market. These days it is called human capital. Okay, you have land, you have labor, you have physical capital. Then you should know how to mix all these things. We have taken an example, making a vegetable farm. In order to produce vegetables, what do you have to find? First requirement, land is needed. Second one, labor. If you have physical capacity, you can work as labor. Then third one, which are that you need some tools, so need some materials to work, and also you need some seeds. Seeds we can call which one? Working capital. Tools which you use called fixed capital. Then with all these things, you should have a knowledge how it is to be planted, when it is to be planted, when we have to pour water, when we have to give fertilizers to the plants. All these things are needed. Knowledge is needed. Enterprising skill is needed. Then what you can become a human capital. That every production is organized by combining land, labor, physical capital and human capital. Altogether we can call it factors of production. Okay, for the very important economic activity production, you have to be very much familiar with the factors of production. By knowing this, next we moving to the farming in Palampur. Okay, let us stop here. Thank you very much.